Say hey, everybody. All right, we are live. Wow, that is quick. We normally are not live on both channels that quickly, but luckily here we are live on YouTube, live on Twitch. We out here. Just letting everybody know where I'm at really quick on all our other social channels. Then we're going to get down to it. Um, I am going to do a little bit of an update on a video that I did a while ago on a different channel. I'm going to talk about value over replacement player today, um, otherwise known as VORP. It's it's nothing crazy. Basically, what I'm doing is taking the 80th percentile projected performers and kind of showing where the value lies relative to other people at their position, stuff like that. Really, it's a positional measure to see what is where you can extract the most value, because if player X is projected at 1,000 points rest of season and player Y is projected at the same 1,000 points the rest of season, it doesn't necessarily mean they're as good as the other, and I'll show you why. And it's mostly positional, but we'll kind of unearth some other things throughout the course of this video. Of course, we are live, so if you have questions as I go along, I will do my best to answer them. I am going to be pulling up a spreadsheet here as I normally do, and I will go through that. So let me get over there, and I'll start with some hitters. We got charts, folks. We got charts. All right. Do this. Okay. Let's pull her up. Sorry, I'm a little blown out per usual. I got the window open. Okay. So heading on over to the spreadsheet here, I guess let's just maximize this. So basically, here's a scatter chart of corner infield VORP. That is on the y-axis, and price, this is rare price, is on the x-axis. So basically, I mean, we're just using projected scores divided by essentially the projected score around the 80th percentile mark, which, let's see, what do we have here? It's 422 points rest of season. For comparison, Freddie Freeman has 648 projected rest of season. Matt Olson, Shohei Ohtani right here. Here's, corner infield projections the rest of the season right here. So here's the actual VORP number. This is how many times more than the 80th percentile is this player worth. So you can see here that Freddie Freeman is worth 1.53 times the 80th percentile player. You can see Eugenio Suarez, Ty France, Jock Peterson, and Lourdes Gurriel are the 80th percentile, so they have a VORP of 1. So that's where you see these guys. Here's the amount of standard deviations above that number they are. So, like, if you're planning to make a big purchase, I'm going to go down to Austin Riley here because he's on the Braves, but I would stay in this range if you want to make a big splash. So let's go over here to the chart and see what it tells us. So, based on projections, you see Elly De La Cruz kind of standing out down here. I'm trying to make this just a little bigger for y'all. Okay. You see Elly De La Cruz way outside this group of players in terms of price, but not that high in terms of score or VORP. Again, VORP is the y-axis here, so you want high. So that's why I talk about Freeman and Olsen and Ohtani over here. What you get with De La Cruz is you're paying a lot for not a lot of projected production. Obviously, there are other reasons why you'd pay that premium. You are getting a rookie card, and also he is young, and you'll have him for theoretically, 20 years or whatever, if Sorare is around that long, and we think it will be in some iteration. So you get that up here with Shohei Ohtani as well. Production-wise, as good as anyone. Price-wise, not so good, and we know why that is. First of all, it's Shohei Ohtani. There's a ton of hype. You also get the pitcher aspect of it. So that's why he's out here. Now I will talk about this group. When you see some of the names in here, I mean, if you can parse these out, like Eugenio Suarez, Salvador Perez, Jeimer Candelario, Jose Abreu, I don't know who that is, it's tough to read, Jonathan India, Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rutschman, Cody Bellinger, Spencer Steer, Josh Young, all project about the same. And they're all kind of similar in price. So basically, you can get any one of these guys and essentially be getting the same player. Kind of the same thing up here. JD Martinez, Anthony Santander will pull out if possible. Yeah, he's right in there. George Springer, Teoscar Hernandez, and Andrew Vaughn. Martinez, Hernandez, and Vaughn are all similar price, but you see Martinez up here in VORP. Similar in price to these guys because he's older. Then you get another grouping here. Muncy, Schwarber, Walker, Chapman, Bregman, Arozarena, Harper, and Machado are a little overpriced relative there. And then Nolan Arenado's kind of right in the middle, but reigns supreme in terms of projection. Again, kind of the same guys. When you're making a choice here, you're making a choice for the sake of correlation, like Kyle Schwarber. If you have other Phillies, then that's why you would go there. Although Kyle Schwarber's not the best example because he doesn't benefit as much from the guys behind him because he never gets hits that aren't homers. So you can play him independently. You don't need a stack for Kyle Schwarber. But yeah, like Chapman, if you have, the middle of the Jays order, he makes sense out of this group, yada, yada. So this is the money spot right here. And obviously you see the names and they're fantastic. These are the guys you want because you are getting premiums for not a horrible premium price. Like if you look at Paul Goldschmidt, who we talked about on the live yesterday, his price is kind of suppressed. That's why he's more towards the left, but he projects really well. That's because of his age. You're going to get that. Pete Alonso, you're paying a little bit more for, the age. Same with Riley, but Alonso projects worse than Goldschmidt rest of the season. Riley, a little better. Vladimir Guerrero, again, hype here is probably the difference between Guerrero and Austin Riley. If I had to buy one of the two right now, I'm buying Riley. He's hot, sure, but his price is still suppressed and kind of in line with everyone else. But if I were going to buy them just based on price and not based on output, I would go up to Jose Ramirez, who projects better for the same price. Devers projects better, but for more, less than Guerrero. So I would buy Guerrero before I bought Devers. Or no, scratch that. I would buy Devers before I bought Guerrero because Guerrero is more expensive. And then you get up here to Freddie Freeman, who is, 35, something like that, and projects way better than everyone else. He's the number one corner infielder in terms of projection rest of season, but he separates himself without going way over here into Ohtani land. Or you could, pay a little bit more for the hype and, 4 years younger Matt Olson, something like that. So that's corner infield. Corner infield is where you get the most of this bunch up, and there's less value up here. But these are the guys where you're getting requisite value for what you're paying. Ohtani is not that. You're paying all this more than double for Matt Olson to get, a guy who's going to break game weeks. He is his own person. I have said over and over that I wouldn't buy him at his price. I don't know that that's so much the case anymore because we've just seen him continue to excel as a hitter. So Bob asks what he's missing with Devers in the chat. He's so high in all metrics, but feels miserable to play and watch. I would guess that it's personal bias. Like truly, I would guess that that is the issue. Um, I do have I do have full season stats here somewhere, but I don't recall where. Well, I'm not going to spend too much time on it. I know I have it somewhere in here, and I would imagine he is producing the same amount as everyone else. My guess is that he's not like crazy low comparatively, but I unfortunately, because I'm live, I don't have the time to look that up and edit it out. Um, but I don't know, man. I would guess it's bias because I don't think he would still be projecting the same way, but I can't necessarily speak entirely to that without knowing. I don't mean to just say like you're biased and you're wrong, but it could be the case. Let me check one more place before I move on. Is it this? I might have it. I just need to find somewhere to put it. Just gotta change everything. This is something that I should just have in the sheet. Okay, let's see if I can pull it really quick. I'm doing all this work on a different screen, so bear with me really quick. I could also just very easily copy and paste it from Fangraphs. So in the meantime, I'm going to try that. All right, I think we got it. Let's just drop it in. We are loading. And then we'll look at the scoring for the current season, if it loads correctly. Otherwise, I'll just grab it from Fangraphs. As we're waiting, I'll kind of get that ready. Is that it? Okay. Sort by Sorare points this season, as we see. Acuna is crazy. All right, yeah. So I don't see Devers. Oh, he's right here. Yeah, I mean he's 17th best hitter this season. In between Arenado and Walker. So yeah, he's not doing what Jose Ramirez is doing. Also the fact that Jose Ramirez is up here because he feels the same way. But I mean, like, look at the differential between these guys. And these are the guys that we talked about too. It's it's Olsen, Betts, Freeman, Ohtani, and Acuna. But Acuna, because of the 46 steals, it's just lapping everybody. So we will talk about him in a little bit. But yeah, I mean, Devers probably feels that way because he's not giving you what Freeman and Jose are giving you, because those are guys that he's projected around. But I mean, he's still the 5th corner infielder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So I think there's an amount of personal bias there. But anyway, back to the matter at hand. Okay. Oh, we got goofed. All right. We're going to have to rebuild this chart real quick. Rice. We're going to go down here to Quan. Come back up here. Insert. Scatter chart. All right. You get to see some Excel magic here. Bear with me. Okay. Add data labels. Format data labels. Value from cells. Da, da, da. Get rid of the Y values. All right. Now we have all right, we lost Acuna because of the damn naming, but just know that he's way off in space. Okay. Same sort of thing here as corner infield. You get a big bunch of players, and you get some people who separate themselves because of hype and price. Jazz Chisholm is one of them. Corbin Carroll is another one of them where, like, yeah, he projects the same as Randy Arozarena and Michael Harris and a little bit better than Kyle Schwarber. But you're paying for something else entirely way over here. Julio Rodriguez is kind of in his own tier. You get a logical progression in price from Soto to Tucker, but I would definitely pay up a little bit for one of the two of them instead of Julio Rodriguez at this point in terms of projection. And then you get a massive premium for Fernando Tatis, but he makes up with it, or for it. Let's see, can I add a trend line here? I can't, but so if it looks linear like this, it makes sense. I mean, it's like a correlative sort of increase in price and projection. Tatis is also younger, so you get, again, that sort of premium. Like, Tatis is worth the money. Tucker and Soto are worth the money. Rodriguez, Robert, Adolis, all these guys, especially in this range, especially these guys, you want the guys who are higher at the same price. So if you see Jazz Chisholm here, I'm like, well, no, I'm going to pay up for I'm going to pay for Randy Arozarena instead because I'm getting the same amount. I'm going to get him the same amount or whatever. Yeah. But, I mean, a little more for Adolis, a little more for Luis Robert, and then it's like a big jump to Julio Rodriguez. So, like, I would rather buy Luis Robert or Adolis Garcia than Julio Rodriguez, but I would definitely, once that line is a little more steep, I would rather go up to Tucker or Soto. But basically, again, you see a big bunch here, and, you know, Tatis is, what, 1.65% better than the 80th percentile, whereas Tucker is, 1.48. If you can afford the extra 0.08 ETH, or, I don't know what that comes out to dollar-wise, then maybe it makes sense. So, Kayla points out that Carroll's rest of season projections are still wonky. I believe that's true. Yeah, the projections haven't really done a great job of keeping up with steals. So, like, Acuna's got 46 right now, and there's 60 games to go. So I guess that's close. So where's our guy Corbin Carroll? Yeah, 13 rest of the season. That's probably a little low. So fair dues. Let's say I want to put him right behind Acuna rest of the season. Let's see how that changes him. 568. So that's going to put him between Lindor and Goldschmidt. So obviously that raises that ceiling a little bit more. All right. So here's where we find the most value. Let's look at the middle infield. You get a lot of parity. I guess I can't do that without getting all of these. I got to get my shapes. Okay, yeah, they kind of stay together. This one moved on me somehow. I don't know what happened with the charts, but this is where you unearth the most value. So much parity in the middle infield. All of these guys are virtually the same guy. There is no reason to buy any of these guys, or at least more than one of them. Like, pick your guy and make a move. Then you get up to this group. The best value here is probably Francisco Lindor, because he's as cheap as a lot of these guys over here in the big group, but he projects way above them. Whereas you have to pay a little bit more for the rest of these dudes, and you're getting guys like, Bo Bichette, Wander Franco, who are young, Trey Turner, who is still riding some of his hype. Zoom in a little more. Ozzie Albies just being a Brave is gonna, his price runs up a little bit. Same with Semien and Seager on, one of the best offenses in the league. Like, Lindor, rest of season, is a big time value. And then all the way up here is Mookie Betts. The Mookie Betts middle infield card is probably the best card in the game outside of Acuna, who, again, didn't appear on this list because of a naming issue. I can probably change that. And then we can look at where he is. Let's try it. Let's go to outfield again and just see if we can see where. No? Did I bork it? Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to worry about it. But he's way up here. It's the same as the Betts thing, just in the outfield position above the rest of them. So other than Acuna, look at the amount more value you get with Mookie Betts in the middle infield relative to anyone else. Look at the separation. Obviously, you got to pay 3x what you got to pay here, but he is the premium option. Jumpshoot asks in the chat, better than RP Strider. Yeah, I think so. The 5-point relief pitcher bonus really nerfed that card. Because, before that, if you look at some of the reliever scores, if a guy gets 3 saves, it puts him in 48 to 50 territory. If you nerf that by 15, then, you're looking at a 35-point max. And that's for guys who get 3 saves in a game week, which is rare. Otherwise, without that bonus, you're looking at 28 max or something like that, whereas Strider could go off for 50 on any given start. And the ceiling there, it just rarely happens for relievers. Now with the 5-point bonus, a 2-save game week with a couple of strikeouts, you're looking at 48. So Strider doesn't hit that often. He can hit it, but it not enough to make him insanely valuable anymore. So yeah. So if you're on some sort of a budget, I'm still paying for Lindor or Albies. I think they are great buys. Just because of the way that they separate themselves from the pack. So all right, Mookie Betts is projected to score 667 points rest of season. That's not much more than Freddie Freeman. But the difference in VORP is what highlights really why you want to target a guy like Betts instead, why he's technically more valuable. Compared to the 80th percentile, a very attainable player in, France, Suarez, Peterson, Gurriel will cost you, $40, I think is the exchange rate. I haven't updated it to fiat here. You're paying all the way up. God, 0.121 is not a lot for Freddie Freeman. But, okay, so his VORP is 1.53. Betts at 9 more points relative to the players at his position is almost 20% better. He's almost 2 times better than MJ Melendez is bang on 80th percentile at middle infield rest of the season. Betts is almost twice as valuable as him, as opposed to, 1.5 times value. He's 1.73. So at his position, 22% more valuable than Freeman. And you do pay for it. Like even Albies, who is cheaper, is 1.48, like just a little bit less than Freeman. They're similar value. You can get just as much value out of Matt Olson for 0.169 as you can for Albies at 0.01 or 0.106. Or you can go to Lindor for half of that. Like that is a big time deal. Like what cheap, like Jose Ramirez is cheap relative to everyone else. Goldschmidt is pretty cheap. None of them are as cheap as Lindor. Bregman. Cost-wise is similar to Lindor. Lindor projects for 30 more points to get to the same amount of VORP as Bregman at 1.25. That's, you're looking at Willy Adames, who's really not bad. But like you see some of these guys a little more elevated here in the middle infield because there's just so much in the middle that bunches up. Like it's so much more of a premium for the guys that project that much above. I hope I'm making sense. Yes, Lindor not making the playoffs at this point. We don't know that, but like they could go on a run. I don't think they're that far out of it. Doesn't look good. But yeah, that's why you get that. But I'm not concerned with the playoffs. I do not. If you were around for the playoffs last year, it's very hard to win. They are going to, if they nerf the prizes like they did last time, like I don't care about that at all. If I'm planning for the next 60 games or, 20 game weeks or something like that, then I want Lindor right now. Lindor super rare for less than 700, steal of the century. I don't know what the conversion is, but I haven't run it in forever. But that sounds like it. I really wanted a Lindor super rare. I would take a Lindor rare at this point, especially for that price. So, all right, let's look at starting pitcher. So here's Garrett Cole. Oh, that's why everything moved, is because I updated prices. So that's why we get this. Okay, so Strider still is almost, let's see, like 8% better VORP. Yeah, about 8% better projection-wise than Garrett Cole for more than double the price. When you look at, this list over here, look at Aaron Nola. Like, not that far from Gausman or Cole, but way cheaper. Justin Verlander, still above, like, all of these pitchers. But, like, he's so far over here because he is older. Also, he's older. So he's not necessarily going to meet his projection. So, like, the guys over here are good premium buys. Like there's a reason they're up there. There's a reason, like they can run away with game weeks. It was the same with Judge last year. It's the same with Ohtani. If you're late on Acuna now, it's kind of tough to go after him, but he's probably worth the price. But if you don't want to pay that premium, then this is the area that you look in. Do this shape that's going to drown everyone out. But so this is where you want to look. Like Garrett Cole right now at 0.056 is a nutso deal. I knew that was going to happen. That's a crazy deal. But, who wants to pay for starting pitchers? Relief pitchers are a little different. I didn't even map this, so I'm not going to look at it. Relief pitcher projections are spotty at best. So let's go back to the performance sheet here. Yeah, I think my Corbin Carroll projection was decent. But I mean, yeah, 22 homers, geez. Guy's crazy. Didn't expect to see Adolis Garcia or Christian Yelich up here this season. Didn't expect to see Luis Robert. I've been meaning to buy a Marte and Walker Rare forever, and I haven't. See, people said Wander Franco's been bad, but he's the 19th best player this year. Francisco Lindor is 20th. This kind of makes me upset that I paid for Austin Riley. Here's Fernando Tatis in 30th, despite playing 17 fewer games than everybody else. So again, like that's where that comes from. So yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit about VORP. If this didn't make sense, or if you need more of a primer, there is a link in the description on this video that it's my original VORP video, and I probably do a better job of explaining it at a baseline. I even do a PowerPoint on it. I also believe I was under the influence of the devil's lettuce when I made it. Don't tell my mom. I'm just kidding. I can assure you she wouldn't care. But it's pretty good. I think I just try to make a joke at the beginning and it doesn't land at all. But I really had a lot banked on that joke. But yeah, I would check that out. It's a better explanation, but I wanted to give you a look at players this season and how they've been separating themselves. I am going to look really quick. Oh, do I have the 2024 zips? Yeah. Let's take a peek ahead really quick. Here's next year's projections. Bob's boy, Devers, up here. Projecting really well. And these were recently updated too. So I'm actually surprised that Corbin Carroll is below Anthony Volpe. But yeah, I mean, look at the steal numbers. Still not. They'll need to be rerun. But let's go ahead and say 60. Let's go ahead. 40. 50. See how that shakes things up real quick. Moves Cunha up here towards the top. No surprise, no surprise. Okay. And then I think Yordan Alvarez is still towards the top here. Yep, still number one. Julio Rodriguez stealing the number 2 spot in 2025. Any other surprises here? Jose hanging on. Miguel Vargas, big time. Christian Encarnacion Strand. Freddie Freeman starts to fall off. Vaughn Grissom. Nolan Gorman. Hunter Goodman, I don't even know who he is. Cedane Rafaela, nice. I know some of these names from the show. All right. So yeah, that's future projections. Let me answer some of these questions in the chat. Alpha, I'll get to you in a second. Mike asks, so is there any value picks in younger players, or are you always paying extra for the youth? That's probably a player-by-player difference, but that's why these charts are great. Let's come back. All right, so Rafael Devers is still pretty young, right? Isn't he like 25? 26. It's going to be 27. So, like, relative to everyone else, cheapish. Austin Riley, I think, is pretty cheap. Or young. 26. Okay. Yeah, so they're both kind of, they make sense. Let's see. Anyone here? These guys are all kind of older. Andrew Vaughn? 25. Yoshida, Eloy, Gleiber. Adley's right in here, but you see him popping out, a little bit of a gunner, same thing. Like, they still are on the more expensive edge here, which makes sense. But, like, Ellie's just major hype. Middle infield, Bo and Wander, they move out. They make sense. But, all right, in here, I don't know, Nico Horner, Andres Jimenez. There's Rutschman and Gunner, more to the right, more expensive. I don't see anyone in here. Tovar, maybe. Like, I think Rodriguez makes sense. Yoshida, yeah, see, like, these guys all bunch up. Even Spencer Steer is more expensive than some of these guys because he's a little younger. And Jazz Chisholm, way over here. Stuff like that. So I think it just shakes out that way. I don't think there's always a premium. I think it just kind of has happened that way. Let's actually make this chart using 2024, and then maybe we start to identify. All right, so the values are going to be a little bit different, but let's go down here to the green. 1,000-point scorers projected. We're going to do the same thing here. We're going to insert a chart. Yeah, okay, so now price is on the y-axis because, well, here, how about this? Let me be less stupid about it. I think this should change it, but if not, we're just going to have to reorient. Okay, yeah, no, it's not going to change for us. So format our axis. Our minimum is going to be 1,000. Okay. So now what we want is players who are way out to the right but not super expensive. So it's this one right here that catches my eye. Okay, we're not even going to look. I'm not even going to look at the names. I'm going to add them. I'm going to tell you who sticks out where and why. In Alpha, I'm still going to get your question. I will help you build a rare team for $300. So this one sticks out. My guess is that he's older. Survey says damn it, I don't know how far down I went. Try that and hopefully it doesn't break it. Oh, there you go. All right, Yordan Alvarez. Surprise. Big time value there. I didn't want to add all these at the same time, but Devers. Juan Soto, surprisingly. So yeah, I'm looking for people in this range. And they're all young. And again, this is projections for 2024. But like, you can get stock in Soto, Guerrero, Tucker, Rodriguez, and Devers, and the projections like it. And Yordan Alvarez is projects better than Acuna on these projections. That will obviously change, but is close to half the price. So yeah, it's do this again, and I'll have to change these. But this is our happy zone right here. Come on now. Are you really there? Okay. Yeah, this is our happy zone. And they're all young players like you asked for, Mike. Let's try it again with starting pitching. It's 2024. Looks like Corbin Burns is our favorite here. We'll go down to 500-point scorers. Insert chart. I wonder who that is. So I imagine Otani doesn't even make this list, so that's probably Strider. Or no, I don't think Strider's that expensive. Okay, yeah, so that's Otani. All right. So like McClanahan, I'm just going to delete this, honestly, and we're going to stay within the... we're going to stay out of the Otani business here. Okay, now it's a little better. So, like, our happy zone is probably... I mean, I would love to include Burns, but if we're staying under this line... Who's young in here? Manoah? Y'all ready to buy a Brandon Manoah or a Alek Manoah right now? So age-wise, like, I don't see anyone in here. I think you got to go like Fried, and I don't even know how young he is at this point. And he's got arm issues. Same with Tristan McKenzie. I don't see a lot of age with pitching. Strider doesn't project well yet for some reason, but okay. So yeah, that's that. McClanahan just looks overpriced. All right. My dog thinks I've been doing this too long, so all right. I think this is still... what's ETH at? Let me update that, and then I'm finally going to answer your question. While I'm looking that up, I'm going to let my dog out of the room. $18.62. Okay, it's about the same thing. So okay, let's get actual dollar amounts in here. All right, so we need $300, huh? So Alex Bregman sticks out, or Matt Chapman if you want to go cheaper. Brian Reynolds is your outfielder pretty easily. So, like, I'm looking for the best values here. I'm going to stay away from Bregman really quick, and I'm going to go Chapman for 42.5. I'm going to go Brian Reynolds for 54.41. So we got infield, outfield, or corner infield and outfield. We need a middle infielder. Willy Adames pops. Andre Jimenez. I'm gonna pay up a little bit for middle infield. Again, looks like Lindor. I'm gonna say Lindor. Actually, that puts us at $200. So let's wait on that. We need a middle infielder. You can go Adames. Andres Jimenez hasn't hit anything this year. Gleyber Torres is not a bad look. So I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm gonna go Gleyber Torres for $46.40. We need another hitter. I'm gonna go Ian Happ down here at 37.83. All right, we're at $181. We need at least 2 starting pitchers, a reliever, and hopefully another hitter. So I'm just going to add another hitter now. Harrison Bader, yuck. Dansby Swanson gives you someone else in the middle infield. So let's try that, actually. Let's go with Dansby. I don't have a stack yet, which is unfortunate. All right, starting pitcher. This is going to be easy. Got to get our price again. Okay. Verlander's $27. Scherzer's $36. $28 you can get Rodon. Lance Lynn at 19 I think is a great option. So I'm going to add him. And then, who did I just see? Oh, Evaldi's way overpriced. So either Chris Bassett at 18 or Justin Verlander at 28. I'm just going to go with Bassett. And we have $28 left for a reliever. Ideally, we would bounce back and get another starting pitcher to keep you safe, so you can play every game week. Looks like Evan Phillips is the answer, or we can just go mega cheap and go Scott Barlow. Let's actually see what that looks like. Okay, cool. I'm glad it's helpful. So Scott Barlow is going to cost you $8, and then you have 20 to go back. Yeah, so like you could go Scott Barlow and still get saves. Oh, but Scott Sewell and Estevez are pretty solid prices. So yeah, if you get Sewald here, who, man, I don't know. I have a hard time believing that Estevez doesn't outscore Barlow rest of season. But like if you went Barlow here super cheap, you could then go grab that Verlander, and he gets you a couple starts rest of the season. But like you don't know what he's going to get you after the season. So Kyle Finnegan's also an option. David Robertson is super cheap apparently. Kendall Graveman and Trevor May. You go mega cheap and go Ottavino. Like there are very cheap options here. But yeah, I'm Barlow's safe. I would say go Barlow. And then is there another $20 pitcher in here? Alex Cobb. Yeah, or you can just pay up a little bit and get Verlander and just pray that that isn't bad. So nice. Way to go, Brandon. Yeah, it's the. I'm glad you're using these. Like these, if you've ever used my spreadsheet, these are where you make hay. Looks like I still have the limited prices in here. So like, yeah, Verlander's $5 in limited, 3 for Lance Lynn. Jeez. All right, so Youngie wants to know, yeah. So I just gave you some of those. Those are some of the underpriced pitchers. If you want someone longer term, Nola and Castillo are younger guys that are still very underpriced. Logan Webb actually has been tremendous, so he's probably underpriced. But yeah, oh man, Tyler Glass now at $75 is pretty underpriced, but I still want guys up here. So yeah, Nola and Castillo remain my favorites. They're my two go-to guys. I've had them for a while and I use them. Limited, Zach Wheeler is extremely too cheap. $10 for his limited is bananas. I mean, for $6, like you can get a Justin Verlander, and if he retires next year, then like you just spend as much as you would for a Taco Bell box. So that doesn't hurt you. But yeah, these three right here. across scarcities, these three tend to be undervalued: Gaussman, Nola, and Wheeler. And I have all of their rares. I think I have all of their limiteds as well. Still got to get a Garrett Cole at some level, but Gaussman's actually caught up to Cole. That's pretty crazy. But so yeah, that's that. That's gonna do it for me. Glad y'all popped in to the chat. I'm really glad that I got to help you a little above and beyond VORP. If you're watching this after the fact, if you stayed through to this point, I hope you learned something. Again, go back and check out that VORP video in the bio if you want to learn a little bit more, if you want a little better explanation about it. Because like I said, I explained it a little better in detail and in theory than I did. I kind of jumped into this, and I know some of y'all hopped in a little late, so check that out. Run for the border. That's good. Yeah, and if you haven't joined us, the SorareMLB app, you get top 5 for free. And then you can join us at Patreon, patreon.com/SorareMLB. $5 for projections, $10 gets you all the projections in the app. You also get the Discord that way as well. So yeah, that's going to do it for me. Good. Mike, way to go. Get that Zach Wheeler. Yeah, Alpha, if you have any other questions, I'm always here. You can find me on Twitter at LexHooper or at SorareMLB. You can find me either way. You can always drop a comment on videos, etc., etc. But I have overstayed my welcome, I think. Not everyone wants to watch a hour-long video, so hopefully some people hop on and just get you through a work day tomorrow or something like that. So, all right, we good? Ooh, AJ drops on. All right, Kansas City is the 3rd best opponents, batters, projected WRC plus. Estevez is last. Plus risk of getting traded, guaranteed role might not be as much as it's been. That's a very good point. Trade deadline, for for relievers, that's going to be really tough. Trade deadline's in a week, so maybe you might want to wait on building those teams if you can hold out another week. But so yeah, that's going to do it. Parisian, you're late, buddy. I'm leaving. I'm out of here. Thank y'all for joining. I only plan on doing a little bit, and your questions made it very fun, per usual. So I will be back later in the week. I will talk to y'all then. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you. And again, thank you.